Hey moviegoers, Dimitri Panos here, and welcome to another episode of the CineScope, Movies Under a New Lens. In this episode, I will be putting Alien Romulus under the CineScope. Well, there's a lot to appreciate in Alien Romulus, but there's also lots that made me angry. I mean, very angry. I can honestly tell you I haven't been this divided about a movie in an extremely long time. Alien Romulus is what happens when a writer-director's fandom takes center stage over telling a story I genuinely care about. It becomes about that said director and not about the moviegoer. Warning. In order to provide the best analysis as to why I feel the way I do, this review will contain many a spoiler. I want to provide you with context to better show as to why and where the narrative falters. The Alien Romulus story takes place in between the movies Alien and Aliens. It begins on the Jackson star mining colony, Rain, and in her late teens, early 20s miner with dreams of getting off the grim, dirty, futureless planet. Well, she's just completed her work quota, thus fulfilling her obligation to Weyland-Yutani. She, along with her closest friend, Andy, in fact, they're so close she believes him to be family. Will both aspire for a better life. I'll have more on Andy in just a bit. So Rain, while applying for deep space passage, well, her off-planet desires are shattered. The company has reset its labor requirements, and now Rain must put in an additional 12,000 hours of work, and with zero recourse. It appears that Rain and Andy are trapped. A little bit about Andy. So while it's true, Andy is Rain's closest thing she has to family, Andy is an artificial person, an android discovered by Rain's father in a junk heap, and he's been reprogrammed to always do what's best for Rain. With a slight stutter and a love of dad jokes, Andy is the brother Rain never had. Well, all of Rain's friends, they're in a similar depressing boat. No parents, no future, and they don't even have an Andy in their lives. But what they do have is tech savvy. They learn of a derelict space station consisting of two parts. There's Romulus and Remus. It is in decaying orbit and will crash into the rings surrounding the mining colony's planet. Well, together they decide to head up to the derelict station and salvage necessary parts and fuel that will allow them to escape their indentured servitude. Easy peasy, right? Well, the small six-person ragtag of misfits quickly learn why the space station has been abandoned. Xenomorphs, aka aliens, are aboard. I'm going to start off with the positives of this movie, Alien Romulus. Actors Kaylee Spaney and as Rain and David Johnson as Andy are the movie's best and most fleshed out characters. They were given the most to work with, and they make the best of the material by providing a well-matched chemistry, affording the moviegoer with characters to root for. The movie production design, cinematography, and editing work in great tandem to provide an atmosphere consistent with everything we've seen before in the Alienverse. If anything, the movie harkens back to the roots of the blue-collar workers of the first movie. If you were to watch Alien followed by Alien Romulus, the segue would be relatively seamless. Alien Romulus also captures that claustrophobic, one-setting atmosphere done so well in Alien and part Aliens. And look, you can't have an alien movie without your alien or aliens. Here, the xenomorphs are scary. Director Fede Alvarez is relying on practical effects over digital help give chilling life to these creatures. And some of Alvarez's set pieces are original and inspired. One scene in particular is unlike anything seen in the franchise or anything this summer. It involves, well, running or escaping the aliens in zero gravity. It's perhaps the movie's best sequence, and it looks amazing in IMAX. But as I mentioned, unfortunately, I'm very conflicted about Alien Romulus. Look, I'm a fan of the franchise, and yes, I like some of the movies degrees better, sometimes many degrees better, than others. But I believe that goes with the territory if you claim to be a fan of an IP, because they all can't be the best ever. So, where I praise Fade's direction, his writing commits fangasm sin. Why do I say that? Well, Alvarez is so enamored of himself and his fandom of the franchise, he works too hard, way too hard to let you, the moviegoer, know that he's a fan. And that gets in the way of his narrative, especially in the third act. There are instances salt and peppered throughout the entire movie, mind you. I'm going to discuss a character I've yet to mention. It's another android found severed in half and on the space station, not unlike Bishop was after he got separated, let's say. Its name is Rook, and it's part of the Ash series of androids. Well, that's because it looks and sounds like, well, Ian Holmes. This may offend some. I didn't have a problem with it because we've seen different iterations of, say, Bishop and David. So to me, it makes sense that this droid might be on the ship. But what doesn't make sense is Rook's explanation of how the alien came to be on this space station. He talks about the Nostromo and how it picked up a xenomorph. Okay, all well and good. Without knowing for sure, it's safe to say Ash was sending messages back to Weyland-Yutani because the prime directive of why the Nostromo was sent to LV-426 was for his eyes only, and that he was secretly keeping the company up to date on what was happening on the ill-fated mining spaceship. That would be until he wasn't able to do so because of his destruction. Well, what happens next in Alien is a fight for survival, and it's only witnessed by lone survivor Ellen Ripley. She states in her log the outcome of the ill-fated crew, and that should she enter the frontier in about 6 weeks, and with a little luck, the network will pick her up. Well, the start of Aliens, we know that doesn't happen, as she drifted beyond the frontier for 57 years before being found. So that begs the question, how does Rook know of the alien being blasted out into space? Truth is, he can't. Not until Ripley is found does the company know why and how Ripley survived and what happened to that alien. And by that time, it's unimportant because there's a whole alien egg farm on LV-426. Why didn't Weyland-Yutani just go there? Well, they eventually did, but they for sure as hell didn't need Ripley's alien. The third act also needs to be dissected. Again, there's more exposition from Rook. He explains they have a genome that could create humans as the perfect organism. He shows a familiar-looking urn, the one seen in Prometheus. You know the one with the little black ooze. Well, of course, the compound is on the ship at the space station. One of Rain's crew, who is injured and pregnant, injects herself with it in hopes it heals her. Well, it does, but it also instigates birth. Birth of what looks to be an engineer. Great. And one must ask, other than literally fades bowing down to Ridley Scott, who I'm not saying does not deserve the accolades, but again, there's nothing about these creatures in Alien or Aliens. Oh, but wait, what about the derelict ship in Alien, dummy? Okay, what about it? Rook knows about that, but he doesn't know about the thousands of eggs on LV-426. Look, yes, I admit, I'm hung up on LV-426, and imagining these prequels, Ridley Scott had promised that the stories would explain how said derelict ship landed there and eggs laid for the unsuspecting Nostromo crew to pick up. Obviously, the company knew of this. But we as moviegoers and as fans still don't have that story, which is so integral and pivotal to the Alien and Aliens narrative. Alvarez is basically saying, hey, Mr. Scott, look at me. See, I'm paying attention. Great. Just cram it in there, because that's what it felt like crammed in. Now I'm going to talk about more characters. I've already said the best in this movie are Rain and Andy. But there are about 4 more. They are pissed off at android guy, potential romantic interest guy, pilot woman, and pregnant woman. Yes, the characters have names. They are, respectively, Bjorn, Tyler, Navarro, and Kay. Look, I had to look them up because they're red shirts, xenomorph bait, and food. There is nothing distinct about them. Again, this is another failing in the script. Just focusing on the 2 movies, Alien Romulus, that it's set between Alien and Aliens, I'm willing to bet many of you can name the crew or characters from each movie. Let's say Alien. Well, you got Ripley, Dallas, Kane, Lambert, Brett, Parker, and Ash. Aliens, you've got Ripley, Burke, Hudson, Hicks, Vasquez, Napone, Bishop, Newt, Gorman, Drake. That's just off the top of my head. I just watched Alien Romulus, and the best I could do is give you descriptions of the characters instead of names. What does that say? Well, it says because the script doesn't give them anything to really do except react and have bad things happen to them. In Alien and Aliens, each has characters with distinct personalities. Come on. How many times have you exclaimed, game over, man, game over, or it was a bad call, Ripley, it's a bad call. In Alien, you had hoped someone, along with Ripley, would have survived. Aliens, I bet you were bummed when Hudson got killed. That's because you cared. I cared. Well, you will not be quoting any of the characters in Alien Romulus. Their only function is to die, and in some cases, I'll admit, they are spectacular, gory deaths. Another example of Fangasm sin is Fade Alvarez's forced homage and forced Easter eggs. He conflates what are the movies Alien and Aliens with their plot points. What do I mean? Well, Alien and Aliens are movies with their own stories. Alvarez situates Alien Romulus between them. After Alien and well before Aliens. However, in trying to be clever, he mimics events that happen in Aliens. They are clearly meant for the moviegoer to recognize. As far as plot, there's story points that haven't happened yet, and only the moviegoer gets it. Yet Alvarez, in an attempting cheeky cleverness, also from a story structure standpoint, intends to say, my movie, in the whole canon of things, did it first, well before Aliens. He purposely mirrors events that technically not only haven't happened, but in Alien Romulus, they come off as cringe and cheap. Andy utters a line made famous by Aliens Academy Award nominated for Best Actress, Sigourney Weaver. You know the line. It is applause-worthy, like hell yeah, applause-worthy in the movie Aliens. See, here in Protecting Rain, Andy tackles an alien and says, "Get away from her," and takes a long beat. Now look, had he just said that, I would have been okay. I know where the line goes, but Andy continues and finishes the line. Ouch! David Johnson's read of the line sounds as if it comes from a reluctance to say it. It screams, "Do I have to?" He does his best, and I do not fault him. Nobody could do it and get away with it, and it doesn't work here at all. Alien Romulus focuses on fanfare above storytelling. Shouldn't Mr. Alvarez have just been ecstatic directing an Alien movie if he's such a big fan? Shouldn't his love of the Alien movies been focused on making a great Alien movie instead of trying to wow me with his knowledge of the said movies? To me, there's a really huge difference between loving a movie and respecting a movie. I wished Fede Alvarez showed more respect for Ridley Scott and James Cameron rather than trying to impress me, maybe even them, with his passion of the movies. Look, he's a good director. He builds good atmosphere and tension. He knows how to film a set piece. Unfortunately and ultimately, Alien Romulus plays more like a theme park dark ride rather than a fully realized feature-length motion picture. I did not love Alien Romulus, but I also didn't hate it. Therefore, I have to go smack dab in the middle and give it the three fingers of, it's okay, but be warned, anger may ensue. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode of the CineScope and listening to me break down Alien Romulus. I'd love to know what you thought of the movie, and let me know what your favorite Alien movies are. I leave the comments open specifically for that reason, so that we could have dialogue, because isn't it great to be able to talk movies? That's why I do this, because I love it so much. Well, I will have more movie reviews in the days and weeks ahead. I do appreciate you, and I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for watching me and this episode of the CineScope. Please like, please subscribe. Until next time, I will see you at the movies.